All right, hello everyone, Morning Muck here, and as we expected, Guild Wars 2 just released a new trailer. This one is for Guild Wars 2 End of Dragon's Elite Specialization, the Catalyst Elementalist. So we finally have a name for it. It was the Ellie, as many of us predicted, and it is called the Catalyst. So going to watch the trailer now with you guys. I'm going to try to get through the first one without pausing, and then we'll go back through it and pick out any details that we can find. Here we go. So we got a Sylvari model.
Catalysts have revitalized ancient techniques for channeling elemental forces, with a few modern improvements. They use jade tech spheres to create concentrated wells of immense power.
There's the sphere.
Using their augment abilities within range of the spheres enhances their effects. With the weight of Tyria's fundamental magics behind every blow from their hammers, these elementalists are a steady presence in melee combat.
Okay. Oh man, so little. 45 seconds before the outro, so little. Oh, well, we're gonna get more tomorrow, but alright. Let's see what we can unpack from this. So, first off, we've got Fabio here. We've got Salad Fabio, who is our model for the day. Thank you, Fabio. And he's got a great hammer. Or I should just say hammer, sorry, thinking of other titles right now. The icon, we were correct. It's funny, many people were correct, but they were correct for the wrong reasons. I remember one group of people thought that, that the icon was a bow, and that the thing at the front of it was an arrowhead seen from the front, as if it was like a bow like this, and it was on fire. So... and it was the Ellie. And the reason for that, I think, is because they thought that Ellie needed another ranged weapon. I don't argue with that. But they were correct on the icon for the wrong reason. Wooden Potatoes said that he was thinking maybe Ellie would get Torch. And this was the Torch, the Torch icon. And I remember joking with my audience, it's like, Torch when you're in fire element would be obvious, but what if you're in earth? Does it just like emit mud? Like what would it do? I don't know. But yeah, so lots of people were correct, but all for the wrong reasons. So that's our Catalyst icon.
Catalysts have revitalized.
All right, so here he is striking a pose. We got a little bit of fire around the wrists. Not sure if that's because of the armor or because of the an effect for being like in fire attunement as a catalyst or something like that.
Ancient techniques for channeling.
All right, so lifts up into the air here, charging up a massive wind blast.
Forces.
And
with a few
knocks
modern
down the target.
Forces.
Alright, I was trying to see if the target was knocked backward, but I think it was just a knock down on the target and a disengage on the Ellie. And because of these stairs here, that's actually very important. So he didn't just slide backward in a like horizontal movement. He actually went up and backward in an arc. That's very interesting. That would mean, depending on the terrain, you could take fall damage after using this.
With a few modern improvements.
Unless it just slid up the stairs and I'm really overthinking this.
Forces.
But it looks like he goes upward at like a 45-degree angle. Alright, so massive knockdown, knockback. Now, I would pause there for a second. Anyone who doesn't play Elementalist, depending on the element that they're attuned to, their 1 through 5 changes. So they've actually got a 1 through 5 for fire, a 1 through 5 for water, for air, and for earth. So, like, just for the staff, which is a 2-hand weapon that has 5 buttons, they've actually got 20 keys for it. So there's a lot of skills here that it's hard to analyze what these are. So this air blast, obviously it's air. It could be a utility skill, or it could be Hammer Air 5 or something like that, and we're not sure. I would lean toward that being like Hammer Air 4 or 5, if just on a guess.
A few modern improvements.
Okay, so we've got a fire shield that he activated with some skill of his. Then we've got a leap attack, not a long range. That looked like maybe 450 to 600 range, maybe. No, probably closer to like 450 or less. But we got a small leap and an engage. And he slammed the ground when he hit.
They use
And
Jade
then
Tech spheres
did a bop. Looks like he put burning on the target, and that was probably just an auto attack. So the narrator mentioned wells. I'm gonna have it replay that.
They use Jade Tech spheres to create concentrated wells of immense power.
There we go. So I and many others guessed that the floating orb behind him was going to be a gyro. And gyros are wells in the game. They're classified under the wells category.
They use Jade Tech spheres to create.
Right there, he does like a throwdown animation. Phoenix
wells.
rises up, and there's the orb. There's I don't know what we call it. There's the catalyst. There's the gyro, but that's the well.
Immense power.
So it looks like the new type of spell, the new type of ability that they're getting. It looks like it's going to be wells. So we've got this burning patch with a phoenix here, and it appears to be persisting. Like it's just going to keep pulsing fire damage, I would guess.
Abilities within range of the spheres enhances their effects.
So she says using their augment abilities in range of the spears enhances their effects. All right, so let's say this. We've got fire sphere and fire phoenix.
Using their augment.
Then he changes to, I think that might be ice. This might be water element. And look, new sphere appears.
Abilities within.
And then there it's so we've got a fire and a water orb, or fire and water, or fire and ice that are both orbiting. And I can't tell if that's just a graphic or if they're actually hitting this guy. I'm reminded of, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher the name. League of Legends has a celestial dragon you can play, and his name's like Solarin or something like that. You can correct me in the comments. It's been a while. But he's got 3 orbs that orbit around him, and they actually do damage. Also similar to Lightning Shield on the Shaman and Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft. And essentially, the way to attack with that is stay at just the right distance from the enemy, not too close, not too far, so that those orbiting spheres just keep pummeling the guy every time they pass by. I'm wondering if these are like that and they do damage, or if they are just a graphical representation of what's going on with this specific well that has been augmented. So right now it's fire and I'm guessing ice. And then he does a third one, and so the sphere disappears and reappears as lightning. We see lightning came down and struck this guy one time. So this guy gets zapped when he changes.
In range of the.
And then we've got fire, ice, and air all augmenting this bird, which started as a fire phoenix and now appears to be an air phoenix. So, and this guy is getting pushed back. I certainly don't think the NPC is backpedaling. That would be pretty funny. Let's back
Using
up
their
here.
augment abilities within.
So lightning, we saw a vulnerability there. So he got some vuln on him.
Enhances their.
And then I think he just did earth. So I believe that's the earth sphere. And right here's a rock. So all 4 elements. So I think this guy summoned a well, which was this phoenix thing that does damage, and then he just rolled through all 4 elements. And he got zapped by the lightning. Fire, of course, did some damage. I don't know if it's the combination of all those effects that is doing a pushback, or if it is simply the fact that air is in the mix that it's doing a pushback. But this guy is getting shoved away, and that has got some crazy zoning potential. Like, you imagine, assuming that, I'm analyzing all this correctly, and I've been wrong a million times before, but imagine if I'm right, and he goes on to, like, a capture point in PvP, and he does all this, can he just constantly emit a push for a few seconds going off the point, just get everybody off it? I don't know of anyone else that has a persisting push like that. Like, honestly, this kind of reminds me of, like, the tornadoes in Jahai Bluffs, that they just kind of tug at you constantly. Like, I don't think stability has an interaction with a constant
Using their
persisting
augment
pushback.
abilities within range of the spheres.
And it looks like this guy's
enhances their
trying to
effects.
move forward, meaning if
With the
he
weight of
wasn't moving forward, like if this Naga wasn't doing the equivalent of holding down the forward key, would he be getting pushed back even more rapidly?
Within range of the spheres enhances their effects.
So this might be like, and then finally, I almost missed this last part. He does either another skill, or it's possible that simply at the end of a duration,
Augment abilities
all
within
of those
range of the
orbs
spheres
fired at this guy
enhances
like
their
bullets.
effects. With the
And there they go. So it was like 4 missiles at the end of it. So that could have been just at the end of a duration, or it could have been that he hit another skill to make that happen. Either a hammer skill, or maybe by pressing that well button a second time.
weight of Tyria's fundamental
All right, so right there we had probably an Earth Hammer 4 or 5, big shockwave, and we see an immobilization on this guy. So Ellie might have a mass immobilize skill. Probably not quite as good as Entangle if it's a hammer skill as opposed to an elite skill, but it probably has a much shorter cooldown.
magics behind every
Okay, then we had something else
their
there.
effects. With the weight of Tyria's fundamental magic
Okay, so right here,
behind
okay, he swung the hammer, and there was like a cleave of spikes, and actually, was that all the way around? The graphic the spikes went all the way around him, and the hammer blow went in front of him. So it's hard to say if this is a 360 attack or a 180 attack.
behind every blow from their hammers.
Okay, then he appears to possibly go air and do a flurry of strikes. Warrior Greatsword has a skill like this, where it just does like a whole bunch of strikes all at once in a channel.
These elementalists are a steady presence in
Okay, so he throws down the well again.
Melee
That
combat.
looks like the dragon. And I didn't see the... I mean, it's possible that there was just the camera work. I don't see the sphere on this one.
these elementalists.
It might have just
are
been the camera angle.
steady presence in
But yeah, it looked like he did just a wind strikes, and we see lightning crackling, so this is certainly air. So I don't see the sphere, but I think that's just because of the camera angle. And then we're back to this. Okay, so just because of the nature of Elementalist, we probably haven't seen like 75% of their new stuff. So fire, I believe we saw an engage. We saw an air disengage, a massive one. We saw a fire engage, fire shield, some fire autos. We saw the earth mass immobilize, the earth cleaving spikes thing. I don't know if we saw any water attacks from the hammer. We saw this well, and I would assume that they're going to get 6 wells. 1 elite, 1 heal, and then 4 utilities to choose from. Our Phoenix guy here, they focused on it so much, I wonder if summoning this Phoenix well is the elite. And if it's capable of shoving everybody off a point like that, I would kind of hope it is. Aside from that, my second guess would that it be a utility option. And then, I mean, it's certainly a big investment if you summon your elite and then you activate all 4 of your elements, putting them all on cooldown to supercharge this thing. That is a big investment in a fight, but in a team fight, it'd be totally worth. Like, it does a lot of damage, apparently. It does constant knockbacks, and then just a whole bunch of bullets at one of your targets at the end of it.
of Tyria's fundamental magics behind every blow from their hammers.
And then we
These
saw a wind
elementalists
attack.
are a steady presence in
So yeah, I would say we probably haven't seen 3 of the wind skills, the 3 of the wind hammer skills, any of the water skills. I think we haven't seen 3 of the hammer fire skills, and maybe we haven't seen 2 or 3 of the hammer earth skills. So we still have a lot to look forward to. And then, of course, possibly 5 of the 6 wells we haven't seen. Maybe. A lot to unpack here in 45 seconds. They rolled the keys. Well, we'll get more information tomorrow during the stream, and as always, I will try to TLDR it. during the last stream that they did, just cutting out CMC drinking from the water bottles removed like 45 minutes from the video. So, you know, I'll try to do that again for you guys, but yeah, I don't know. How do my Elementalist friends feel? I don't main Ellie. I've dabbled on it a bit. Usually when I do, I play Tempest. A lot of people I know were hoping for another ranged option for Ellie, and it looks like this isn't it. Now, however, you know, keep in mind, there's always the crazy builds. Like, if you play Weaver, you don't have to play with a sword. If you play Tempest, you don't have to play with a Warhorn. When I PvP on my Druid, I like to use short bow and sword dagger lately instead of using staff. The staff on Druid and PvP is awful. So you could be a Catalyst and not use the hammer if you chose to do so, if you thought you could come up with a good build of it. But yeah, wondering what the Ellies think. Are they happy with this, or do they dislike it? At the moment of recording this video, a little less than 10% of the people that saw it thumbed it down. I don't recall off the top of my head what the like to dislike ratio was of the... I keep starting to say Bullet Sworn, the Blade Sworn, or the Vindicator. All right. I'll stop it there. If you've got any comments, questions, problems, thoughts, concerns, anything that I missed, throw it in the comments down below. Point it out for everybody. Let's have some fun speculating until we get the full disclosure tomorrow. Have a good one.